Hey, my listeners, it's episode 5 of Read the Bible with Aneswa. You are welcome to today's reading. My name is Aneswa, and we are still on the book of Genesis. Today, we'll be reading just 2 chapters. We'll be reading Genesis chapter 10 and Genesis chapter 11. Chapter 10 talks about the descendants of Noah's son. Let's get reading. Genesis chapter 10. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These 3 had sons after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras, were the ancestors of the people who bear their names. The descendants of Gomer were the people of Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were the people of Elisha, Spain, Cyprus, and Rhodes. They were the ancestors of the people who live along the coast and on the islands. These are the descendants of Japheth, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. The sons of Ham: Cush, Egypt, Libya, and Canaan, were the ancestors of the peoples who bear their names. The descendants of Cush were the people of Seba, Havilah, Saptha, Ramah, and Sabtega. The descendants of Ramah were the people of Sheba and Dedan. Cush had a son named Nimrod, who became the world's first great conqueror. By the Lord's help, he was a great hunter, and that is why people say, "May the Lord make you as great a hunter as Nimrod." At first, his kingdom included Babylon, Erech, and Akkad, all 3 of them in Babylonia. From that land, he went to Assyria and built the cities of Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Resen, which is between Nineveh and the great city of Calah. The descendants of Egypt were the people of Lydia, Anam, Lehab, Nephthah, Pathrash, Kashla, and the Crete, from whom the Philistines are descended. Canaan's sons, Sidon, the oldest, and Heth, were the ancestors of the peoples who bear their names. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Gigashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Avadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. The different tribes of the Canaanites spread out until the Canaanite borders reached from Sidon southward to Gerar near Gaza, and eastward to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim near Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. Shem, the older brother of Japheth, was the ancestor of all the Hebrews. Shem's son, Elam, Ashar, Apashad, Lad, and Aram, were the ancestors of the peoples who bear their names. The descendants of Aram were the people of Az, Hal, Gether, and Meshech. Apashad was the father of Shelah, who was the father of Eber. Eber had 2 sons. One was named Peleg, because during his time the people of the world were divided, and the other was named Joktan. The descendants of Joktan were the people of Almondad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jirah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dekla, Obal, Abimel, Sheba, Ophel, Havilah, and Jobab. All of them were descendants from Joktan. The land in which they lived extended from Mesha to Sephar in the eastern hill country. These are the descendants of Shem, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. All these peoples are the descendants of Noah, nation by nation, according to their different lines of descent. After the flood, all the nations of the earth were descended from the sons of Noah. We move on to Genesis chapter 11, and Genesis chapter 11 talks about the Tower of Babylon, the descendants of Shem, and the descendants of Terah. Genesis chapter 11. At first, the people of the whole world had only one language and used the same words. As they wandered about in the east, they came to a plain in Babylonia and settled there. They said to one another, Come on, let's make bricks and bake them hard. So they had bricks to build with and tar to hold them together. They said, now let's build a city with a tower that reaches the sky, so that we can make a name for ourselves and not be scattered all over the earth. Then the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which they had built. And he said, now then, these are all one people and they speak one language. This is just the beginning of what they are going to do. Soon they will be able to do anything they want. Let us go down and mix up their language so that they will not understand each other. So the Lord scattered them all over the earth and they stopped building the city. The city was called Babylon, because there the Lord mixed up the language of all the people, and from there he scattered them all over the earth. These are the descendants of Shem. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he had a son, Arpachshad. After that, he lived another 500 years and had other children. When Arpachshad was 35 years old, he had a son, Shelah. After that, he lived another 403 years and had other children. When Shelah was 30 years old, he had a son, Eber. After that, he lived another 403 years and had other children. When Eber was 34 years old, he had a son, Peleg. After that, he lived another 430 years and had other children. When Peleg was 30 years old, he had a son, Reu. After that, he lived another 209 years and had other children. When Reu was 32 years old, he had a son, Serug. After that, he lived another 207 years and had other children. When Serug was 30 years old, he had a son, Nahor. After that, he lived another 200 years and had other children. When Nahor was 29 years old, he had a son, Terah. After that, he lived another 119 years and had other children. After Terah was 70 years old, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. These are the descendants of Terah, who was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran was the father of Lot, and Haran died in his hometown of in Babylonia, while his father was still living. Abram married Sarai, and Nahor married Milcah, the daughter of Haran, who was also the father of Iscah. Sarai was not able to have children. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, who was the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, Abram's wife, and with them he left the city of in Babylonia to go to the land of Canaan. They went as far as Haran and settled there. Terah died there at the age of 205. Hope you enjoyed today's reading and listening. Don't forget to like, share, tell somebody about reading the Bible with Anesua. Tell your family about it as well. And I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. But God loves you more. Stay blessed.